Is anybody listening?
What song do you want to open up with? Did you have a preference?
You can do that in the editing, can't you?
This is what it's going to be like, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're just going to be
Edit
like,
it.
can we just edit that in? Can we just chop that in? Right,
So, can I speak to my agent? Tony, I need a coffee.
we'll scrap the intro song. This is Anybody's Listening.
Are we rolling?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Oh, we are
We're
rolling. Yes, I'm
Can we
Dale.
fix that in editing?
Can we please? Yeah. It's ASAP. Tony, I need the cappuccino.
This is Anybody's Listening. I'm Ben Jordan. I'll be your co-presenter, I guess it is. And I've got the main man.
Dale May. Who's also the you got to do the point.
Yeah, is that what it is?
You have to, man. You have to. Yeah, co-presenter also. I don't like co-presenter. I feel like it sounds very formal.
Yeah, we're just two guys just chopping it up, basically.
Two guys chopping it up, drinking some Morgans.
We're waiting for that kind of, that promotion.
Two creatives, really. That's why we're doing this, right?
No, 100% that. Like we spoke about doing this podcast like 2 years ago.
Yeah, long time.
2 years or something like that. And so me and Dale have been doing stuff together. Probably people already know this. If you're listening to this, you probably know us one way or another. But we've been doing a bunch of work together, and we always have these long, in-depth conversations. And sometimes like stupid conversations. And every time we're always like, I wish we would have just remembered that chat, or we would have like recorded it or done something.
Yeah, mainly because we're drunk and we can't actually remember.
Which is what, that's why the Captain Morgan's here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just kind of an opportunity for us to chop it up and just talk about shit really. Like there's nothing really in particular we'll be talking about. Like there'll be music, we wanted to get some guests on.
Big time.
And we're kind of going from there, I guess. I don't really know where to start.
What you been saying? What's been going on in your world, mate?
Fucking Corona, innit?
Corona, it is Corona. That's all anyone's saying in a minute, innit? Like, how's Corona going for you? How's COVID-19? Is it treating you well?
When I went to the barber earlier, I know he's had that conversation like 100 times about Corona. So I was trying to avoid that awkward like
Don't want to don't bring it up. Don't bring it up like when you're in a taxi and you're like, what time are you on till?
Don't ask him how his shift is.
Don't do it. Yeah. I've not had my hair cut yet. Obviously, Ben went and got headphones on. He went and got a fresh
Shout out number one barbers.
Yeah, number one barbers. Shout them out wherever they are. It's this Corona. I mean, it's awful, obviously, what's going on. I don't want to downplay the fact that it's an awful epidemic, but it's bloody boring.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If we that's why I definitely don't want to start there, to be honest, because I feel like that's all I've spoken about. Like even when
you're still working, right? So you are working.
Yeah. Like so, I've stayed. Like I got really ill when it all, obviously, when I first come about. I just got mad sick.
Oh yeah, Ben had Corona, by the way.
Yeah.
He knows.
I got
what
sick.
It is.
Yeah, I was real bad. So as soon as I got better, so it was like 3 weeks I had off, where like obviously it was that transition period, and I was straight back to work. But just remembered. So with your work, talk to us. So the one thing I want to point out before Dale goes into this. So ever since I've known Dale, how many jobs do you reckon you've had from? Let's say from 16. From 16.
Yeah, I say 30 plus. Yeah, I've had a lot of jobs. I can't make my mind up. That's all it is. I'm trying to.
But a few weeks ago, Dale said to me, I don't want to name companies, don't want to name anything. He got a new job. Telling me how great it was. It's got all the perks you want. The pay, everything was spot on. Told me, Ben, this is the job that's going to change everything.
Perfect for me, yeah.
Perfect. And that was about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He's already got another job. So I'll let him explain. But
I'll start tomorrow, to be fair. It's my first day. I went in today and handed in the documentation, and then, but I start tomorrow. Yeah, no, it's one of them ones. You know what, for me... Do you know what I mean? Shots fired straight up. Let's talk about all your jobs, Dale.
Let's go for
my mum's going to be watching this, She's not going to be happy with me as well. No, to be fair, I'm in and out of jobs. And there's been times, I remember when we first started like meeting up and working, I didn't have a job at that point. I had a tax-free job. Just put it that way. And then I got a job at an accounting company, if you remember, and it was like really well paid, and I managed to get this. I remember in the car, we were in a car journey, and Ben was like, "You're never going to get that job, mate." No, do you know what I remember?
Yeah, because the thing
was out of my league.
I don't want to say it, I said you won't get this job. To bear in mind, I've always known Dale to kind of like jump from job to job. He's never really stuck with one thing. So it wasn't me saying Dale can't do the job. What it was is that Dale was like, Ben, I've got this job. And I can't remember exact words, but it's like, central, I'm in Mayfair.
Yeah.
You know,
taking over London.
Big money,
yeah.
Suits.
Big
all of this
time.
is like sports cars. And I think at the time you wasn't even driving.
Didn't have a driving license. I'm gonna be driving a Maserati,
But
man.
I remember having that conversation, being like, "Well, how are you gonna go from like, do you know what I mean? What you've been doing, just hopping job to job, to then going into this?"
Well, it is what it is, man. Like for me, I struggle with authority. I think I've learned that over time.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, do you know what I mean? It's that. Sometimes what I absolutely hate, if I'm being honest with you, is like someone that's getting paid 50p more than you per hour has all of this power to like, why are you not doing this? Why you can go to the toilet at this time? Have you dialed it into your phone to tell the system that you're going for a piss? It's like, for me, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So I've been looking for a job where I don't have to have a manager. That's been the reason. But I've had some crazy... I mean, I worked in a taxi firm. We used to get paid cash in hand. I won't mention the name because I'm pretty sure they weren't paying tax on that or anything.
Yeah, we won't say any company's names.
Yeah, we won't bring them into this. Apart from Diet Coke.
Yeah, Diet Coke and Captain
Morgan's Beats, if you want to...
Yeah. I don't even know what these are.
Yeah, there's something. They're
AKG.
Yeah.
The big AKGs.
Yeah. AKG.
I don't know what they're...
But yeah, so obviously I've had an array of jobs. I think part of it, and this might just be my reality and my perspective, is like as a artist or as someone, although you did say from 16 to be fair, but as like someone that's been trying to do this full time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a musician for people that don't know out there. And it's like sometimes trying to balance work life with your dream or your goal or, you know, the thing that funds your soul. And that's hard sometimes. I remember being at this particular company, the accounting software company, and it was like a really serious job. And like, you know, my family were like, "Yeah, this is you're made, you're set for life." I was on more money than my mum was on, for instance. You know, and it's like at the age of 23. But I resented going into work every day to like do a job that for me doesn't feed my soul. So it kind of got to this stage where I was doing music on the side. I was like writing lyrics at work, you know, and it was a sales or account manager job, and you've got to be on point. You know, I'm calling up companies and being like, what am I calling you about again? You know, I'm doing this thing over here at the side. So I think that has got a real part to play. And now what I've managed to realize is a manager doesn't work for me, and also the corporate environment doesn't work for me. The conversation of like sitting around talking about conversion rates and pencil pushing, it just isn't for me.
I always question like with that stuff is that the people who are having those, because I always think someone's got to head those meetings, right? And then it's probably the same as me and you. They probably don't even enjoy that job, and they've got to sit there in front of this meeting.
They love that job. They love it. I reckon
some people though, you can just tell, can't you? You're just like, you don't want to be doing this. Like you don't.
Yeah, I've had some sales managers that are there, and you can tell they put on. I've had about 20 sales managers. No, but that will put on that kind of like, I'm at work and I'm very corporate, and they've got this voice, and you know, you can tell because when you go to the Christmas party, for instance, and they have a few, suddenly they start being like, "Oh, hey, dude," you didn't sound like that in the meeting. But yeah, obviously, some of them love it, mate.
Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna throw out there. Peter, you know who you are. You love it.
I've had some. Yeah, to be fair, I've had some terrible bosses. Like, I think back and I just wonder. And the thing is it cracks me up. So jobs when I was younger, you obviously get them on Facebook because you're just like, that's the thing at the time. So, and I've got them now, and it's like looking. These guys were like these stern, like the head teacher, you know, these real stern people. And I look at them now on Facebook, and I'm just like, you're not that person. That wasn't you. That wasn't the person you was.
You've changed. You've changed over the years.
You ain't the person you said you would be. But like, so yeah. So at the moment, you've gone from.
I've gone from basically. What have I gone from? I've really done a lot of jobs in the last couple of years. So I was at a finance company, and I left that, and then I went to like a foreign exchange company, left that. Yeah. And my mates, I'll tell you, I called them up at one point. I was in London, I think you included, and I was like, I'm taking over London. I want you to understand, like, you want to jump on this boat? Because we're sailing. Yeah, we're sailing. We're out here.
If you want to buy some stocks, now's the time.
Now's the time, bro. I randomly turned into a whiskey stockbroker for a while. Started sort of talking to all my friends about whiskey and that. But yeah, now basically I'm a delivery driver. That's what I do now. So I was working for a reputable company that we won't mention, Amazon. Oh, sorry. Yeah. But I left because... After 3 weeks. No.
It's more just funny that it was just
perfect
it was the perfect job.
It was.
But the one thing I would say though is that like even though when you were doing like the London job, and this is what I think a lot of creatives have, is like you're taking music now and like kind of your craft a lot more serious for example, you've maybe taken a lesser job on paper.
Yeah.
But for example, you're taking your craft and your creative aspect a lot more.
100%. I think it got to a point where I thought, because it was a really well paid job, and I was like, oh yeah, what I'll do is I'll use all the money to like fund being a musician, you know, like I'll get a Mac laptop and I'll do all this. But what you kind of forget is, first of all, living in London, for instance, is quite an expensive thing to do. But also, you don't get paid for nothing. Like you put so much time and effort into that job. You're working hard. You've got to come up with results and targets or whatever, and you don't really have time. I mean, there's no excuses. You should always be able to find time for something you love. But if you're working so hard and putting all your effort into a company, that's kind of draining. You know, if it's a tap, they're turning that tap on and just draining all of your creativity out. So what I'd find would happen in those days is like I'd get home, put my feet up, have some food, and then maybe one night a week work on music. Whereas now being a delivery driver, come on, it's just less focus. It's like I turn up, I throw the package at your door. Boot the door.
Give it people's elbow.
Yeah, whether you're in or not. To be fair, at Amazon, I actually got 7 complaints in my first week. I did. I'm so sorry for anyone that didn't get their package that week. But yeah, they didn't. Anyway, I'm not going to go too into it.
The funny thing is, before we started, I was like, right, let's not say any companies' names. Just don't go into that because don't want to get you in trouble. But straight out the gate, you're like, straight
out the gate. This is real shit,
Amazon,
man.
To be honest,
fuck them. I never said fuck them. Hold on. He's putting words in my mouth from the start.
I buy stuff. I've got Prime. I've got my Prime, man.
Interesting enough, because I had this conversation with somebody, I don't know who, but I've always been inspired, I guess, by the fact. I mean, you was in a similar position working at a restaurant, right?
That's not name the name.
A restaurant.
Yeah, because that similar to Dale. I wouldn't say it was quite taken over London, but I was working in like a big restaurant chain, and I was kind of doing that thing where I started at the bottom. I was a waiter, and I was like, I'm gonna become a team leader, and I was like, great, I'm a team leader, fucking brilliant. I'm gonna become manager next, and do that whole ladder thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I did all of that, and what I found is during that period of where I was progressing through the company was when I was trying to like learn about photography, learn about videography, try just do other stuff.
Clothing line,
yeah. Let's not talk about
I've still got a hoodie
presidential clothing
somewhere.
Big up. But I realised that the more responsibility you have at work, like the more it hinders you with doing anything. Like, so if you want to kind of like, do you know what I mean? And the thing with the creative industry is, for example, someone can call your phone and be like, so in your case, it could be like, right, I've got a gig tonight. Can you do it? And you might go, fuck it, Joe, I've got a big presentation tomorrow. I've got to get all my slides together or whatever it is in the London role. With me, it was like I might be doing a start or whatever time. So it's almost hard to make them sacrifices. And the people in there, like kind of the people who just work for people and do that stuff, they don't understand it. So you have that conversation with them being like, nah, mate, I've got to film a music video tonight.
And they're like,
all right, do a music video.
Like, is that for the company or?
Yeah. And when they say it's not for the company, they're like, so well, that means you can work then.
You're on our time.
Exactly, yeah.
Ben.
I remember I had this massive, so talk about the clothing line. So we had this big launch day, I had it all set up, got all the website ready. It's so stupid thing back to it. I was like, right, 30th of January.
Yeah.
We're dropping the button.
Yeah.
We're dropping the bomb on everyone.
Big time, grenades.
All I was telling was my friends and everyone, friends and family, was like, the big release, 30th of January. And at the time I was living in Hereford. And
taking over Hereford.
Taking over Hereford. This is another story. But but when it comes to the 30th of January, I wanted to be off and back home in Milton Keynes so I could get all my stock ready for all the orders that were going to fly in. But they put me to work on the 30th, and I think it's like the 1st of February or the 31st January, whatever it was. So I had like a massive argument with my manager. I was just like, I'm not going to work that shift. I was like, I'm not going to work it. And they're like, yes, you are. I was like, nah, I'm not.
It's crushing your dream right there.
And it was literally from that point, like I didn't end up working it. I ended up being like, nah, I'm not. And I drove home and I didn't do the shift. But that was the start of like me realising that it's very difficult to be in like even if it's in a restaurant or wherever it is, it's very hard to be in a role with responsibility and try and like prioritize because you always have to compromise. That's the thing. If you're chasing your dream or you're chasing whatever it is, you will always have to compromise. Of
course.
Because the company will always expect you to put them above anything else.
Every time they put themselves first because you're working for them. And to be fair, they're paying you to be there. But it's the whole...
It's a hard thing though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the whole away from the working day that annoys me. It's like, I've had some jobs where, you're expected to do things in the evening, you bring a laptop home. Why are you not... Especially in a job in sales, you're kind of always round the clock, really. You should be going home, you should be working on things, looking at your emails. And that for me, it just bogs down the creativity side of things for me. Some people, I mean, I'm amazed that some people can do that. I mean, let's talk on that for a second. Like, do you think it's possible to work a serious job? Let's say, I don't know, putting money on it. Let's not do that, but like a serious
senior
job.
role,
Senior role, exactly, and pursue a dream on the side. Do you think that's a possibility?
I think it is, but I feel like you're very heavily. That's why and this is what I mean. You meet so many creatives who won't put themselves in positions for that exact reason. Like, because if you're in a senior role, that means you've got responsibility, and then that responsibility basically means that you have to go above and beyond your 9 to 5, for example. So it'd be like the client needs you to go out to dinner with them. Let's say, use that for example, but you might have a gig then.
Yeah.
So you won't be able to excel. I think you can do it, but you won't be able to excel. I think
you won't be able to reach your full potential.
Because you've always going to have to choose. That will always happen. Like, where you have to put something first. And if you really believe in what you're doing, you're always going to put your dream first, right? So that means if you're doing that, you're putting that second. So that means that whoever you put second is always going to
come last.
Yeah, come last. Yeah.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because a lot of the time, I've always said this. It can come down, and this was a surprise for me actually when I first started, jumping in and trying to pursue music as a long term career, I guess, or whatever, or at least as an income source to a certain extent, so that I could survive and still do music. What I found is that you have to pump money into it. Like for the label, for instance, for the clothing line, for instance. Did you have to pump money into that?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Because the thing is that's what I mean. I feel like with anything, and it's even with the clothing, with the videography, with the photography, you're constantly invested. And as a musician, whether it's like you just had to buy mic, headphones, all that stuff. You have to make investments in whatever you're doing. So yeah, so with the clothing, it was like there was a chunk of money I had to put down because you have to do the samples, and then you have to actually order your stock. So before you've made a sale and you don't know how many you're going to sell, you have to order your stock. So it's like, mate, that's what I'm saying. It's like you're constantly having to do shit and go and put yourself in like a compromised position to try and chase something that you believe in. And at that time, there's no real, again, like everything is like saturated. It's like there's so many different people and so many different things who are trying to do the same thing as you. It's like, how do you like
differentiate?
How do you differentiate? And you got to really back yourself. So it's hard, man. That's what I mean. I shout out like so many people who I know who are kind of on that grind and doing that thing. Because
absolutely, big up to anyone that's doing that, because for me, it's integral, really. Like, to success anyway. Like I don't think success just lands on anyone's doorstep. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You do have to kind of go through. If we look historically, you do have to kind of go through that process, unless you've kind of been born into some rich family and then you get to use that money for whatever reason.
But forget this stuff though, and it annoys me because the reason why people's stories are so great at the end, like whoever it is, you can pick any of the guys who come from nothing to something, like whether it's like Eminem or there's Steve Jobs, all these people that like the guy who runs Amazon.
I actually do not know his name.
I forget his name.
But I know that he made £5 billion personal profit over COVID-19. That's all I'm going to throw out.
Either way, you look at their story and they all started like somewhere where they necessarily didn't want to be. Like, so for example, some of them were like I use Eminem because I only know him quite well. Like, I know his story quite well, but it was like getting fired, washing dishes, doing pot wash, doing all this kind of stuff. Yeah. And the fact that then he blew up and it was all like this amazing thing, that made his story 10 times better.
True. So
it's like, that's why I would never, like, whenever anyone's on their little journey and they're trying to figure out what they want to do, I would never, like, if someone was like, I'm a binman or I do whatever, I'm like, it's cool, man. Like, if you're doing what you want to do, it's not like, it's not a big deal. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I think some people, they'll think where you are right now is that's who you are as a person.
Yeah, that defines you. That's in other words, 30 plus jobs is okay. Yeah. You go get it, kids. I remember I worked as a baker once. Baker? Yeah, for about 6 months. And it was such a nightmare because I'm not a morning person. I don't know if you're a morning person. I feel like
I'm the worst.
Are you bad in the morning?
I've got like 20 alarms and I still sleep through them all, man.
Oh, you're one of them guys. Yeah. No, I have the same alarm. I do have that little bit of self-discipline in the morning to press snooze. I don't understand why that's not so hard. Just go snooze.
Do you know why I'm a joke though? I don't even press snooze.
You press stop.
No.
You'll sleep through
I'm literally going through, like, there's fire alarms going off, my Alexa's playing music, I've got Kisteries coming in first thing, I've got everything shouting, everything's going off, I've got my phone going off, I've got literally my living room, I have my lights come on now, I've got them all like automated to try and wake me up, and I'm just laying in the middle of it, just
dribble in a pool.
I'm putting my head under the
piss.
pillow just to try and get a couple more. Yeah, I'm terrible.
Yeah, I'm not great, but I compress news.
Sorry. Carry on with the baker.
Yeah, so obviously I had to wake up at I'm not great in the morning. I'm a different person, and yeah, I had to wake up at 5 every morning. At the time, I didn't drive. I didn't have a bike. I lived in a place called Oak Ridge Park, and I had to get to Newport. And there's this long redway called the Noddy, and at 5 in the morning, I had to be there for 6. So I'd get up at 4:30. I'd probably leave it to the last minute. Yeah, you know what I mean? To have a shower, just wipe down, get out of the house. And then sorry about that. It's graphic. So then I'd walk down the redway, and I'd be fizzing the whole way there. And I actually opened up, and I'd get to the co-op, and there would be people, generally of an older generation, sort of waiting outside for their bread. They wanted the bread. They want that Parisian baguettes. That's what they wanted, and they wanted them warm. Yeah, the butter. So yeah, that was a funny job. I don't know if I'm allowed to. Actually, I don't give a shit. I used to eat the cookies, so you could real talk. I used to make an extra in when you finish the shift. You had to basically set up for the next day. So I sort of look around and I put an extra cookie on there and an extra donut. And the reason why I did it is because when you put it into the oven in the morning, because they're frozen, you're heating them up. They're beautiful and warm. And you don't get that normally. If you go to the co-op now and you buy some cookies, they're fucking cold and whatever. They've been in a bag all day.
Can you imagine getting caught for that and losing your job and having to explain it?
Well, my job at DPD.
I was putting an extra no. I mean, in that job, you're a baker, and they're like, "Why'd you leave your last job?" Because I put an extra cookie on.
I think they'd understand. I reckon if I
to be fair,
it's the way the cookie crumbles, really, mate.
But that's what I mean with and it's so. This is what I mean. I feel like when you're on your little, I'd say, going through life and doing or whatever. I remember I worked at PC World for 3 days, right?
Did you?
Mate, the most...
What? Why do you know nothing about computers?
No, this is what I mean. So it's the most ridiculous thing. So I worked at a racetrack for 2-3 years, and I got fed up. It was really shit pay, really long hours. So I was like, I'm going to leave. So I did that whole thing, apply everywhere, go around handing out CVs. PC World was the only place that got back to me. I didn't want to work in PC. Nothing wrong with it. If you work at PC World, nothing wrong with it. But
not at all.
I didn't want to work there. But I wanted to get away from this racetrack. So I took the job, was cool. And so we did the first day was an induction. Oh, this is how the tills work, this is how it is. And the people that worked there loved their job. They were proper into computers. They loved all that stuff. And they were and I was just trying to be hey, I love computers too. And I left after so my third day. They put me on the floor to try and integrate with customers and try and, do you know what I mean? Engage in conversations. To kind of do a bit of sales. And I remember there was this lady that come in, and she was one of them who didn't know what she wanted. So I had no idea. Yeah,
this is your moment to shine.
So this was it. This was a lady who was
carpets laid out.
Literally, her words were, "Not fussed about money. I want something that's good for gaming. Want to use it for my kids to play on. Want something that's gonna not gonna be glitchy and laggy." And bear in mind, I'm in PC World, so there's computers everywhere. I don't know a normal computer from a good computer. So I'm walking with this lady up and down the aisle. Do you know what? I know exactly what you're looking for. Let me just find it. And we must have done a lap of the whole store.
just snaking around.
Yeah, literally snaking with this lady. Yeah. And I've just gone to the most expensive computer I could find. It must have been
good salesman right there.
And I was like, this is the one you want. Because I was thinking, my manager's going to love me. If I can somehow, on my first sell a computer, and I just know when you're just lying, and you're digging yourself in a hole.
Winging it.
And I'm winging it.
But it's not going well. And it's a broken wing.
This was it. And I was just I had no more. I did the whole, this is great for gaming.
Yeah.
What game should you play? She was like, World of Warcraft. I was like, your son's going to love this one. This is it. And I did all of that. And then she realised that I had no specs on the computer. I knew nothing. No. And she was like, is there one of your colleagues about?
Ask for the colleague. That's one of the worst things you can get.
And I was like, they are, but I'm here now.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm a colleague.
I work here.
I've got the t-shirt and after everything.
That shift, I realised because I didn't want to learn about it, and I was like, but no one knows I worked. That's what I mean. I had a 3-day stint there. And you
left because you had a bad time with a customer. Let's be honest.
The manager messaged me for 2 weeks after, so I always think that
trying to get you to come back.
He never knew. No, because I never told. This was the thing. I never told him I left. I never said this isn't for me. I just never went back. So my next shift was the next day. I didn't turn up. So he's texting my phone, being like, "Hey Ben, just wondering if you're on your way in."
You're probably still on the rotor,
mate. 3 weeks later, hey, just wondering. I I got my job back at the racetrack.
Oh shit!
Do you know what the worst part was as well? So because I was so smug about leaving the racetrack, when I left, I was midway through doing this championship. So we did like this junior championship where it's really like not many people knew how it worked, and because I was involved with it, I enjoyed doing it. So it was halfway through the season, and I got this job, and I was so happy to leave. So I went up to the manager, was like, "There you go, it's my resignation. 2 weeks in it. I'm leaving in 2 weeks. Leaving 2 weeks.
See ya."
Yeah, I was like, "See you later, mate. I'm driving off. I don't even smoke. I've lit up a cigarette, swinging out the window, and then yeah." That was me.
I'll see ya.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that bear in mind I lasted 3 days in that job, and I went back there being like, "Hey, just
tail between your legs."
Yeah, like when I've job, and the guy, I won't say his name, but he was just like, "Oh, it's really weird because when you left, you were like this. You were like, you're well happy to leave."
A cigar in your mouth and all.
And he was like, "I'll let you know, mate. I'll let you know if there's any shifts." And I was like, "Okay."
Played it cool.
Yeah. But he actually did give me some shifts.
Yeah, of course.
But
You're a good worker, do you know what I mean?
It was the most awkward thing, though. Do you know what I mean? The most awkward
to have to go back to. I mean, that's one thing. To be fair, I've never ever had to do. That's why I just keep going to different jobs.
Yeah, mate.
It's an ego thing.
Your book.
Yeah. I don't think I could do it. I think I'm too proud to sort of go back and go. Can I have that job back? I'm like, no, I'll go get another one. Fuck it.
I'm shameless. I was.
Yeah, fair. No, I'm jealous to a certain extent. No, but when you say you worked at the track, what were you doing?
So it's like
I didn't know that about you at all.
Yeah. So I went to a racetrack. So I started off as like a marshal. So it's funny. My brother worked there. So we lived right at the back of this racetrack. So my brother worked there, and I remember saying, "Oh, bro, like, I'm turning 16 soon. Oh, I want a job. Like racetrack sounds cool." My brother was just like, "Bro, like." It's not you just racing around the track in a car. Like it's pretty like it's tough.
See, this whole time I thought you were talking about horses. When you say racetrack, I genuinely thought you were talking about the races. Yeah. Well, I was picturing you being like, two from it. Come on, get it in. Bets. I genuinely thought you were that guy.
No, like a
okay. So we're learning. Yeah, because you're a good racer, aren't you? Yeah, of course. It's all got. Yeah, now I've put it
very average
together.
back in the day, but
yeah, you're a go-karter, right?
Yeah. So back in the day, yeah. But yeah, that I understand why you're confused now.
I thought it was horses, honestly, the whole time, or dogs. I was sort of like teetering between the two.
I used to watch the horses down.
What a job. So you worked at the racetrack. Yeah, I mean, that, to be fair, does sound like a sick job. That's what I mean. I'd go to my brother and be like, yeah, can I
This is what I mean.
there?
So I was saying to my brother, like, bro, 16 soon. Like, I was involved in motorsport at the time. So I was like, yeah, give me a job there. My brother carried on saying, Ben, I can sort something out, but you're not gonna love it. And I was like, bro, trust me. He's like, long days, not a problem.
Yeah, that's me.
Out in the rain, I love the rain.
14 hours.
Mate, I did they were like long days. Yeah, like it was a joke. Like you'd start at like, well, some events they did like 24-hour things, and people would just work the full 24.
What?
And the thing is I was a marshal to begin with.
Paid for every hour,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, so you paid hourly. But at that time, it was like the pay. I think it was like £5.50 an hour. So obviously back then,
shocking.
Yeah, and but it was like marshals when you were like, waving the flag, so you're stood, and not only that. So in the boiling heat, so imagine the peak of summer. You're in a boiler suit. You've got this thing over. It's got a walkie-talkie on you. Yeah, and you've got to stand there with like you got your flags. You got your yellow flag. If someone spins, you're fucking waving the flag. And there used to be a spot like turn 4, and then turn 4 was the worst because you're bang in the middle of the track. But the thing is that people would spin and get stuck in the tyre wall. Now, if someone done that, carts haven't got reverse, obviously. So you would have to do this like sprint halfway across
boiler suit
while waving a yellow flag to slow the other carts down. So you're doing this run like this, running down this track,
yeah.
And then you're trying to push this guy. And normally, like, no offense, a lot of people go karting, they're heavy.
Stocky.
Yeah, they're stocky. They're big old. So you're trying to push them backwards. And like, because they think it's a car, they've got their steering on full lock.
Right.
So you're trying to push them backwards on full, and it's like not working. But bear in mind, it's peak of summer, so you'll be sweating, and you'll be out there for hours during this whole event.
But you did have a walkie-talkie though, which is surely that's the, you know what I mean?
Do you know
that's
what? I nearly lost
the benefit.
I don't know if I should really talk about this, but we're here now. We've had
I've already spoken about the co-op.
So I nearly
Amazon.
I nearly lost my job. I nearly lost my job at the racetrack because basically the walkie-talkies were very strict. Like, for example, you can't have anyone talking about, like, do you know what I mean? If you're on your post, not allowed on your phone because it's the health and safety of the drivers on there. You've got to be alert. You've got to be aware because there might be something on fire and you need to be ready to put it out.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Do understand that. So it's probably going to sound even worse. But at the time, I think Man United were playing someone. Like, this was a long time ago. and I was on my phone in my little hut 'cause it was cold. I was following the scores on the thing. Anyway, I think Ronaldo scored. So I'll come on the radio, being like, boys, just so you know, 1-0 United.
Big up the Reds, come on.
United.
Red Devils,
Ronaldo bagged one.
yeah.
And the manager had it out for me. And he was like, Ben, how do you know that? And I was like, I just say quiet. I stood there like that. Either way, next day or a few days after, I get a letter. It's like, like the disciplinary hearing. It's like, we're doing an investigation into, but basically it was worded in such a way where it's like breaching health and safety, putting customers at risk, like really kind of heavily.
How old are you at this point?
16.
You're 16.
Yeah,
so that's like the shit's going down, isn't it, at that point?
I was like, I don't know. I literally had no idea. I was like, I don't, because what excuse do you have? So me being like the little fucking blag I am, I was trying to think like, how can I get out of this? Like, what's my way of like, because they didn't see me on my phone.
No, they've got to prove that. There's no CCTV, I'm guessing.
What's my reason? How do I know the score? So I went. So in my time, so my hearing was like in a week's time. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna have a little look to see what like the CCTV things say and see if they can spot, like, see if they know, like, for example, is there anyone down the back of the hut? Can they tell if anyone's there?
Okay.
So either way, like, I kept quiet about it and didn't say. And no point says on my phone. And I had my hearing, and I was like, yeah, there was just a guy stood there telling me. He just shouted out, and they had this whole thing. I think because I was a bit of a shit worker at that point. They had this whole thing laid out to get rid of me. And they couldn't because they had no
evidence.
And they were literally every question. They were like, "So you wasn't on your phone?" And I was like, "Nope." They were like, "Did you have your phone on you?" "Nope." "Well, I left it in the locker." And they're like, "So how did you know the score?" "There was a guy." "Did you not? You checked the cameras." But I knew that there wasn't a camera on it. So I was like, "Check the cameras. You'll see the guy." Like, it's not a problem.
That's good. That's a double bluff right there. You knew the whole time. That sounds like a 2 parts documentary.
I know. I know.
I know.
But I remember at that meeting, like, I remember walking out. And I didn't know Conor McGregor at this time, but I was literally walking out the
arms,
place, like, woo. But yeah, in hindsight, it was probably the best thing to do.
I think that's a great feeling when you can do the Conor McGregor arms in any situation, when you can walk away with that much swagger.
When you've got that much kind of like, you know what I mean? That's that much excitement about just not getting busted. That's what I mean. It was just not getting busted.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even that bad what you did, to be honest with you. Like, you didn't steal anything, you didn't like slack off. Well, you kind of did, but all you did was keep up with something in a 14-hour day or whatever, 16-hour day. But yeah, people, I'm guessing, where was that? Was that Silverstone?
No, I don't want to say that.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'm saying the whole time. You want to throw your companies under the... Like, I'm sitting here like, nah.
Yeah, my bad. Still got a CV. We rolling. Technical difficulties.
Yeah. We just end up cutting out. We actually ran out of batteries.
Yeah, and also rum.
We can still hear, yeah. We can still hear.
1, 2, yeah, that's better.
But yeah, that's pretty much... Like, I feel... That's my
I was going to say, just to sort of round off and conclude that conversation, because I feel like, let me just quickly...
Just to round off.
Just to round that off. So I was saying, I'm actually quite inspired by Ben's journey, in the sense that he's now managed to go through all these different kind of jobs. Obviously not as many as me, because that's a competition. You'll never win. But you've managed to find yourself in a position where you're sort of doing what you love doing, which is filming, being a videographer, and being creative to a certain extent.
I think it's hard. Like, let me just pour these, because I know I'm gonna spill these otherwise.
Nice, no ice though. And
yeah.
All I ask for on my rider is a bucket of ice. That's all I asked for. I didn't get it.
We're waiting for that big sponsorship to come in. When Captain Morgan's sponsorship comes in,
number 1 buckets.
All right, man.
Get in contact with us as soon as possible. Yeah, so like, I guess I'm kind of, like I say, concluding, just the inspiration for me, and it's a point, maybe it's hard for an artist or someone that does music to find, it's like I could get myself into a studio, for instance. We both know I'm not the most technical, I don't know too much techie stuff about the wiring and stuff like that. I definitely will learn more about that, and I am as I'm coming along. So I could find myself in a studio where I make cups of tea for whoever, and you know I'm the tea boy, and I could start from the bottom. But it's hard because as an artist, and when you're making music and you're putting it out there, that's the job you want, right? You know, and it's the only alternative is like teaching, which is something again I might go into, or sort of busking.
Yeah,
you either blow. Or you're a teacher, or you busk, in my opinion, you know.
But that's where it's weird in Milton Keynes, though, because I feel like if you're like a London musician, for example, there's a lot more gig opportunities. There's a lot more things.
Maybe not necessarily blow, actually. You can still make a living off
but make a living.
not blow.
But I know people who do, and don't get me wrong, I know people don't necessarily love doing the whole pub gigs and everything. But it's the same thing of what I'm doing now. It's like I'm doing, every day I'm doing filming, but it might not necessarily be the filming I want to do.
Yeah.
But you're still kind of involved in the industry that you want to be involved in. And it's good to like, it's that whole thing of you just sharpen your tools at the end of the day, aren't you? As long as you keep on doing stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest thing with Milton Keynes. And there's this Corona stuff hasn't helped, obviously, with
the scene,
with the venues and everything.
Yeah. MK11, big up MK11 every time. Unit 9. Craufurd Arms, all these places there. I know MK11. That's I hold MK11 dear to my heart just because they gave me some of my biggest gigs.
The one for me is they because not only that, like it's not just blowing smoke up their arse. They always bring in artists that I actually want to go see.
Oh, 100%. But then it's funny because Unit 9, they cater more for a house and a D&B vibe. So there are certain artists that have gone to, they've gone to Unit 9 that crowd in Milton Keynes will sit here one day as a guest and say, hey, it's amazing. MK11, we love hip hop, we love that, grime.
But the thing is, that's what I mean. Like, so I feel like with Unit 9, and I don't want to knock their stuff because I think like it's just not because it's not for me. I can't I would never be able to comment on what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? Because the drum and bass stuff isn't my stuff. It's like when they talk when people talk about Unit 9, I'm like I've never actually been there for like a big night. Have you never been there for a big rave? It can get messy. People saying good things. And I'm
it's a really, really good venue. And to be fair, they still do. I mean, Dirty Dyke was there, and big up Dirty Dyke every time. He was, he was there. I've done a gig there before, like purely hip hop with a guy called Response. He was Billy Crabtree at that time. I showed you some Response. He's fucking sick.
He's good, man.
So yeah, they do still. I mean, they cater for the local. But what I find with MK11, and again, I hold it dear to my heart, is just because, well, first of all, they've given me some of my biggest gigs. I spotted Ghostface Killer at MK11, which was like a big thing for me as an artist and just as a fan as well. And it's the belief in local talent.
Yeah. And
to see a venue that's just kind of, I think it was last year actually. Yeah, they renovated the whole place. So like the stage is bigger and the space where the stage is bigger. It generally looks so much more professional.
And that's what I'm hoping. Like with everything that's going on now, I hope they get back up and running and doing their thing. Because for me, again, even just going there, just in general, like I just enjoy the vibe. There's always cool. The staff are dope.
100%.
The venue's dope, and again, especially for like live music, they always get artists that I like there. They always get even like the local artists. They always get the local artists I like there.
Yeah.
So it's like everything they do, I'm always like sick.
Pushing that.
Yeah, I want to see more of that.
With that in mind as well, there'll be some links that we'll post somewhere. He's the editor in it. I don't really know what I'm talking about when it comes, but we'll post some links somewhere for you to donate to those people. Anyone local to MK, or do you know what I mean? Because we need to start pumping back into the scene as well.
We'll drop that in like on a YouTube bio part wherever
that
is.
Wherever that is.
Somewhere, we'll drop it somewhere.
Anybody listening still?
Yeah, anybody listening.
That bringing that up as well actually. So just like to talk on this for a bit is like the scene in Milton Keynes. Where do you think pre-COVID-19? Which seems like a long time ago now. Like
it was a long,
the
black and white days.
Let me tell you a story. But like back before the corona, like how do you think the scene's sitting at the moment in Milton Keynes? Like,
it's really weird because I speak with a lot of like local artists, so I have conversations with
them. Big time.
And every time it's like, I've got this coming, like this is dropping, I'm working on this, and I get really excited. So I feel like from the outside looking in, it looks like almost a situation where it's almost like, there's not much going on. But I know behind closed doors, I know it's just a matter of time before everyone starts. Because the talent's there, that's what I always think. Like, so I feel like it's got to a point now where there's a lot of artists who are working on dope music and they're talented and it's not like, they're local, let's support them. They're actually like music that I listen to and enjoy. So it's a hard one, man, because the thing is that I feel like everyone's at the process where they're getting their name out there now, but there's no like established. Like Rocky NT was one. He was like an established.
Well, do you not think someone like Rocky? Yeah, he dropped No Place for a Gentleman with the city in the background and that. But what I don't remember going to a gig. Do I?
He did a gig at Craufurd.
Yeah, Craufurd and the Watershed in Newport. If anyone knows the Watershed back in the day, those are the only two gigs I think I remember seeing that were packed.
Yeah.
like Rocky really, like in a place like Milton Keynes, when he was getting as many thousand views as he did on that YouTube video, it should be Ramo. Like there should be people wanting. But if my what I think about Milton Keynes is it misses a university.
Yeah.
Any uni town that I've performed in or lived in, like Brighton, Southampton, London, like not that London's a town, but they have this influx of interested, hungry people that just want to hear music, even if it's new music or they're fans.
Yeah.
What I find about Milton Keynes God love the place, man. It's where I've been brought up and it's where I've done most of my gigs and everything. I love it to pieces. But I find that a lot of the time it can be inconsistent with its listeners and the people that will show up and, to be honest with you, pay on the door or it's important for venues, for artists. Like we need people to come out. If you're not creating and you love listening to this stuff, it's important that you come and you sort of invest. In a sense. That's
the tough thing with it though, because I always think I think, again, I know we're complimenting the venues, but the venues that I think are the best ones for like doing the live music are the ones that are really far away. It's almost like you have to make a point to be like, right, we're going to go there tonight. Whereas you don't.
What do you mean, for example?
For example, so MK11.
Yeah, it's tucked away.
You got Craufurd is in Wolverton. There's nothing. I know there's like maybe a few other bits around it, and then you got Unit 9.
They're all kind of in that area, really, aren't they? Thinking about it, it's Mountain Farms kind of around.
What I mean is that, like, so for example, you have to treat it as in like, right, we're going to go I'm going to go there for the night. Whereas I think a lot of people will probably
taxis
end up going to but it's also like what's around in the area. Like you haven't got like a little Spoons or something like that, do you know, where people will go for a drink and they'll be like, oh, yeah, we could pop there, that's going on. We'll pop there, see the thing, and then go somewhere else.
Absolutely. A lot of the time it's the layout, isn't it? Like when you look at Milton Keynes, it's got like Central Milton Keynes and it's got all these sort of like franchise multi-conglomerate companies, like, Revs or whatever, and it's got, I remember showing my age, but Oceana back in the day, and it had all the. What even is Oceana now? What's that turned into? Oh no, it's one
trampoline park.
It's a trampoline park. Oh, amazing! It's been an up and down kind of place. To be fair, I remember it was Wonder World at one point, or Wonderland. Yeah, Wonder World.
Else. I
got chucked out of all of them.
Yeah, mate. When it was Wonder World, I got banned.
Yeah, it did you? Good man. I like that. But yeah, it's this kind of weird plastic, like, money driven area, the central bit. But what that does cater for then is, you're right, you do have to kind of go a little bit on the outskirts, but it means that you get a better sound, or you get a better standard of music and a better artist.
I guarantee if you had, like, let's just take MK11 for example, stick that in Central Milton Keynes.
Oh, it'd be buzzing.
But it's what I'm saying. But you put, like, when you say, if you put a certain act there, if you put an act in there when it's in the Central Milton Keynes, then I guarantee but the thing is that other places have tried to do this now. So there's what was it called? I think it's closed down.
Cookies and Cream. Even the name. Like...
No, it was Blossom Tree.
Okay.
So it looks sick. I actually never went.
Yeah,
in the hub. But they started doing, like, I think on Thursdays they did like so I know Lauren
did it used to be called something else though? It did. I'm sure it did. It's what Missoula used to be. Is it that?
Nah, that's Slug and Lettuce.
No. It was called something.
Yeah, Cookies and Cream is. I know what you're talking about.
No. Cookies and Cream was in the theatre district where Missoula is now. I know we're going a bit Milton Keynes on it, but it was like I can't remember, but it was like almost like a live lounge kind of vibe. Like you could go in and you could sort of like do acoustic bits, and do you not remember that? It was just before Missoula. It was. I can't remember. Leave it in the comments if anyone watches. I can't actually remember, but yeah. So it's had little things like that, hasn't it?
Funny, but I feel like, for example, MK11's got a reputation now, in my opinion, of being a sick venue, like good spot to go, but it's out the way. Yeah. But I think if you took something with MK11's like reputation and also facilities, stick that somewhere in the centre. Do you know what I mean? Just literally pick MK11 up, stick it in the centre.
But we don't cater for that. If you think about it, like in the central part of Milton Keynes, it's very much, it's all franchises really, and all big names. It's John Lewis and House of Fraser and all that kind of stuff. I can't, because like if you go somewhere like London, Brighton, any other city really, if you go there, you can see like they have this integrated. You can be walking down the street and you might be able to hear something that's decent music and end up in that venue.
That's what I'm saying. It's different, because you can go for it. That's what I mean. Like, and
so the footfall.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have
almost comes just like you don't even have to have bought a ticket advance. They just end up stumbling upon it. Yeah.
Well,
we don't have
Milton
that.
Keynes is just very much like, I feel like you've got to have a plan to be like, cool, I'm going to go there because that looks cool.
Yeah.
And like Do you know what I mean? And then it's all about like the artist then promote it, and you can only promote it to so many people.
Of course, and there's only so. I mean, like I remember MK11. We had they brought Slum Village, who to me it was a mind blowing. Like they're bringing Slum Village are coming to Milton Keynes. That's unbelievable. And I was on the support act, and that was a massive milestone for me. And I remember I was speaking to the owner, saying like, yeah, I'm going to promo it. I'm going to do what I can. And I did what I could. I literally spoke to every single person that I knew. Facebooked it, Instagrammed it, all the things that you need to do on socials, all that fuckery. And I just thought, naively, I guess, Slum Village will bring in enough hip hop heads because we're talking Jay Dilla's old group. You know what I mean? These guys are legends. These guys are hip hop legends, surely. Comes to the night now, and about 7 people were there to like catch me, and then when Slum Village come on, there was only about maybe I'd say maximum like 30 people, like 20 to 30 people. And I even spoke to like the Slum Village tour manager, and he was like, "What is the deal with this place?" And I was like, "I don't know. I actually don't know because one night they'll turn up and they'll be like, it'll be packed,
but
and then another night it won't.
It'll be like a." It's always like a tribute act. We went to like the UB40 tribute act, and it was literally booming. I was like,
everyone loves UB40.
Yeah, mate, I'm not gonna lie. No, yeah, they were sick as well. But I mean, like, it'll be something that is like, I don't know, just everyone knows, and it's like that's what I think. Like, people don't really support the niches or like the.
Yeah, and but that obviously we're a new city, new town, whatever the fuck we are. So it is the culture isn't there. It is there, but it's just not quite developed yet and evolved. And that's why I genuinely believe if there was a university here, it forces that. Because all of a sudden, you've got all these students coming from London, from Birmingham, from Manchester. Yeah, it's like a tech uni, isn't it? So, no, I'm not doing it down.
That's going to bring everyone.
Yeah.
That tech uni's bringing
100%, mate. They'll be working at PC World for 4 days. No, but... Let's, all of the university people, they tend to go, right. I mean, I went to university. I didn't pass it, but I went to uni.
I was there.
Yeah. I partied, but like, and for me, a lot of the first year, and I'm sure a lot of uni students would agree with this, is really about socialising and partying. And I know that's terrible, but it really is that. It's like you get there and you're like, right, I've been let free. Like I'm in this place.
That's part of it, isn't it? That's part
of course. And if you're a uni student, you go, oh wow, like let's just use H as an example. Like H is coming to Milton Keynes. What? He's going to this little small venue, MK11, because it's not the biggest venue in the sense, it's not thousands, it's not an arena, but they get some artists that you'd think they should be.
Yeah, they should
or even have been in an arena before. So it's.
The one I was most gutted about was they had Joyner Lucas
come in. Yeah. I was going to be supporting Joyner Lucas. Mate, I was gassed.
That one, but
and then it got cancelled
because he was doing the Eminem album. Wasn't he?
Yeah,
but yeah,
that was upsetting.
But I feel like this takes us through to this last segment nicely. So I feel like at the end of each episode, we're going to kind of bring a project, bring a song, kind of play it. Now a little discussion about it. So do you want to intro?
So for me at the minute, it's been a funny year, man. It's been a funny year. There's been some sick projects. Just so you know, this isn't just going to be exclusive projects. Like Ben could bring some old school Biggie and say this is my choice this week. It's going to be every week. So but I've picked this one because for me I've not stopped playing it and it's resonated with me for like 4 weeks, I'd say 5. Well, no, maybe longer. 5 weeks or so. Like through the corona, and I've listened to it. And there's something you said about it. Interesting enough, that you said it's almost like a therapy.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah. So the project is Frankie, Stu, and Harvey Gunn. Big up both of those guys. A rapper and a producer from Brighton. The project's called Breathing Exercises, which in itself kind of suggests therapy. It's spot on. Through and through. I mean, I've been listening to Frankie. So I was living in Brighton. That's when I first heard of Frankie Stew. I think he's got a song, I think it's called 1994. It might be 1996. But yeah, I remember hearing that and just being like, this is sick. And then kind of didn't hear about him for a little while. Or at least I wasn't really that active on socials. I was just doing my thing and raving and partying and whatever, like free partying. Living the absolute dream. And then what happened was I started releasing music on Spotify, and my first ever fans also like, you go to that bit and you see this person like, my first ever fans also like was Frankie Stew, and I was like, oh shit, that must mean other people that are listening to my music.
Yeah.
So I was like, do you know what? I want to check that out. And they had all these projects out, and they developed so much. And yeah, I mean, without further ado, I could talk about this for ages. But this project, I can't. We've said we're going to pick one song that resonates. I've picked Harry's Letter solely because, I mean, there's so many songs I could pick from it. Dream Factory is a close second because I recently did a little competition. They did a Dream Factory challenge, and I managed to sort of like get onto their page or whatever. And Loyal Kana on that feature is amazing. So just as a little second shout out, I'd give a nod to that song. But yeah, Harry's Letter, man, just listen to the lyrics. Banger.
I like the fact they used the Joyner Lucas sample on here.
Yes, boy.
Yeah, the Ross Cappuccino.
Yeah. I can't say it. Production wise as well, we'll talk about it.
One verse, how I started. I can laugh it off, but feels good if I can pass it. I've been doing this for time, but I'm getting started. It's what I keep telling people that we're never part of. Where it started, where I start on. When I stayed up so long, most nights to write bars on. Old beats felt closer to heaven. Now I'm stressed out, older, and I'm heading to a place where I don't know. Should feel so home, but I feel so cold. Night sounds so bad, I don't really know, man. Scared, so I slow down. Sometimes I feel life's blessed and it blows round. And if I'm sad too long, I start laughing. I don't know the answers, I can only beg my pardon. And if I think too much, then I dark it. Roll a big thing and get to sparking. A short life, but a long story. I could hear you talk all day, yet it won't bore me. Now I know about the things that you done haunt me. I've been thinking about it bare, but we've not talked it. You were there when I was down, I had tears pouring. It's how I wanna be for you, but I can't sort it. I know you need help, it's not as simple as that though. I know you need help and I'm selfish. Wish that I could help it, wish that I could fix you. Thinking about the helpless, I don't know my own self, that's how it's deep. Think that you can learn from things that you see. Just know I love you, and that's how I'll be. From the start to the end, and everything between. Didn't write this for me, I wrote this for you. Can't talk over text, hope my words get through. So now we're close to the end, about 1 minute left. I know about life, but I'm scared of death. You don't know when it's next, you just know that it comes. I'm trying to make the most out my last few ones. And when you feel better, know that you're loved. You can see the world sometimes with no buzz. So when you get better, just know that you're loved. You can feel the rain sometimes with no sun.
So yeah, for me,
let's address it.
Yeah,
the battery's died again.
Yeah, I mean, literally towards the last 30 seconds of the song. So we've re-listened. The reason I picked that song, Frank Stew, for me, as a rapper, I think he's just so honest.
Yeah.
In this song in particular, the reason I resonate with this, it's a blend of the production as well as the vocals. Just work. I just think it's sick. I think Harvey Gunn's got this amazing sort of ability to be able to take a repetitive sample and constantly make it new. Sort of every 8 bars, 16 bars, he adds something to it and it layers, but it's that same kind of sample. And then with Frankie, he just has this introspective, conscious view on the world, and he kind of sometimes some of the songs, as you know, with me, like I like these kind of scatty, conscious raps where it's not necessarily always about one thing. It can just be splays of like someone's thought process or what are you smiling at?
No, I'm not
trying to keep it serious.
No, there's some guy out the window literally shouting in the street. No, he's got in the cab now. You won't be able to see him.
Okay.
So I was listening to you and you're having this really deep thing, and literally had a corner of my arm looking.
You know what I mean?
There's a guy being like, "Let me in,
let me in the cab."
And it's like raining. Sorry, I'm not laughing at you.
I say professionalism that's what I want.
I was trying to ask you straight.
No, but yeah, as far as for me, is that's it. Like he's there's so many elements of the things that I love in his raps, from Mike Skinner. Don't start. No, even if it's from Mike Skinner, you can tell there's so much influence on that whole album. So, yeah, reason I picked that. What's wrong with you?
It's not you.
Get it? Oh, it's not you, it's me. It's that same line. I've heard that so many times. So many times.
Oh, sorry, wait.
Is anybody listening?
I hope not. Fucking hell.
Are you listening?
Yeah, right.
No, seriously, we're trying to... Professionalism.
No, I'm bringing it. So, man, if you would have seen the guy, you would... If you were in my
have
spot,
seen it.
If you would have seen it.
Yeah, you had to be there.
Yeah, you
all
would
right.
have loved
Yeah,
it.
I know, but
no, I think but exactly what you said there is I feel like you can hear the influence from like Mike Skinny. Hear the influence from,
don't even start. Roll your tune, bruv. Roll your tune.
No, 'cause I don't want to laugh it off and be like, no, because I literally love that project.
It's such a sick project, and you know.
Yeah,
you know.
The thing is that you were posting about it constantly. So, and I slept on it because I was like, I'd heard the song Coconuts. That's the song that I had heard of theirs.
Was that the first?
That was the first song, and it was on my playlist.
That's a big tune.
And I had it on there, and I was like, I love this tune. Never looked any further. I have to shout out my mate Aaron. He literally was like, listen to it now. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll listen to it later. He goes, no, listen to it now. And I was like, all right, cool.
Big up Aaron, each and every. Come on.
Genuinely, and I listened to it, and I've had it on repeat. Like, I don't think a day goes by where I don't listen to it now.
Yeah.
So it's very, very sick. So I fully agree.
So yeah, that's what I brought to the table.
Yeah.
Come on, Mr. Giggles over here. No, what you got? What you got for us? What you bringing to the table?
Let me load it up. But this is an album from last year from a guy called Kojey Radical. So I feel like people who are about music and love music will know about Kojey Radical. But
you hope.
Let me. He dropped this, and this is something that resonated with me. And before I play it, I just want to give a bit of context to it. So Kojey Radical's been doing music for ages, and he used to do like spoken word and poetry, and he's got a very distinctive voice. And he does the sickest visuals. We spoke about it earlier.
We did, yeah.
The visuals are mad.
They're multi-million-pound visuals.
Yeah.
Like they look so. It's a movie. It really is very cinematic and
so
special.
I think this was like 6 days ago. He dropped this caption. So he says, "I hope in this caption will inspire somebody this morning. Water is close to a thousand million.
Whoa."
Water is close to 1 million views, which is a song he did with Mahalia.
Yeah.
He goes, this will be my first million
There
views.
must be something in.
Yeah.
No, it's not that.
There must be
that's Lewis Capaldi. It's
there must be something.
no, that's Lewis Capaldi. Do you know what? All I can think of now is Lewis Capaldi.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no,
my
so,
apologies.
anyway.
I do know the tune.
He says, this will be my first 1 million views. Despite the fact that the video came out 2 years ago. Despite the fact that I'm literally revered for my visual effort. Despite the fact that this song is my biggest streaming song so far in my 6-7 years of making music, it'll be my first 1 million. I don't complain that people underrate me. I don't complain that my music is overlooked. It hurts. But I don't complain, I just make more. I don't create simply for admiration, I create to inspire. So there's loads more underneath that.
Do you know what's mad? Just to talk on that quickly, I know that we're running a little bit out of time, but it is what it is. So I would stress, and this is my opinion, is that he's only got to that 1 million with the help of Mahalia.
Yeah, of course, yeah. She's that distinctive name.
Absolutely. And that's a shame because someone like Kojey, whatever, he should be reaching 1 million on most.
Mate,
I know it's not all about views and it's not all about these things, and that's so important to stress. However, you get paid on views.
Yeah.
You, in a way, judge how well you're doing based on views. So because of that, it's he should be getting.
So this is what I mean. I feel for him because I see he tweets about it sometimes, and he's like, "So this album's called Cashmere Tears." And for me, it was one of the best albums that dropped last year that was slept on. And it's one of them hard things is where he's got a following. He does have a fan base. It's not like he doesn't have a fan base. No one knows who he is. He does. But I feel like for his level of talent, he needs to be above and beyond. He needs to be on the Mahalia. It should be him putting the views on to Mahalia type thing. But the thing is, I'm sure there's a blend of both. Yeah. You put me onto this project. It's very big. This one's called Cashmere Tears, and I just love it because it's a vibe, man.
Funk.
Let's just drop this on, man. I literally love this song.
I defy anyone to listen to this and not have a little bop on. You get a bop on,
especially when you're Captain Morgan.
I might get the cigar back.
Yeah.
Hey.
emotional type. Emotional life, emotion, ocean is colder at night. Disposable crime, I mean you know what I'm like. Not the sociable type, unless you pass in the light. You wanna leave us a team, but maybe smoke what you like. I'm a brother with options and any flavor suffice. I need to make it divide, crimson color the wine. I take my rum with the spice, I've been in love with your mind. I never seek on my feelings, came with a couple of demons. Now you can take it or leave it, I'm more than done with the lies. Thought you had that before, that you quick to ignore. Till you see the decor, and you peep the decor. I'm such a similar story, Cinderella but born. Fell in love with that Mitchell, but knew I couldn't afford you. I like that. Could've when I met you, but you was keeping it gold.
The hook, so wavy.
And baby, I'm scared too. I know they say that I shouldn't, but baby, I fear too. What man won't do, what you won't show. Got the world on your shoulders, but lady, who hear you? No, who hear you? Not another in sight, don't need another tonight. Do away with the lights, your decision way more. I'm a Libra tonight, never quick to the side. Then you dip to the side, I go trouble advice.
Couldn't have them on the
Try to push on every bus and tell them lotion inside. But I know what you like, that's a game with a vibe. Ain't no fooling me twice, ain't no rolling the dice. Say she love me, then hate me until I'm flipping up dice. Baby, give me your try, didn't need a disguise. Didn't love her lost, oh what a surprise. I be stingy with trust, couldn't name me a price.
This whole project is that sort of vibe. That's what I love about it. It's just that whole feel good. It's got some deeper songs.
Yeah, it does have it. That's the thing. I think that project, it like has this really nice kind of eclectic, kind of bunch of songs that isn't just. I mean, you've got those feel good, funky vibes, almost bringing back the 80s kind of vibes, and then you've then got. There's a song called 11 on there that's just this like pure, just showing off his rapping ability and his wordplay and the deeper side, the angst almost that he
something that
portrays.
we spoke about before. So we're both big fans of Mac Miller.
Yeah,
and we talk about how Mac Miller talks on very deep subjects, but over happy
beats. Yeah, it's a great combination.
And that's what I mean. And he does that very well. Like again, that Can't Go Back song. Is that him talk about he don't want to go back to killing him? He'd want him to kill him.
That's what I mean.
But the whole, and if you see the visuals for it as well, he's skanking, he's dancing.
Yeah,
but what he's actually talking about is actually pretty deep.
It's deep, but what he's doing, and I always respect. I think both of the artists we've brought to the table today, they live their truth.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like Kojey Radical's always been very, very vocal on mental health illness. Well, not always, but I think especially in the last couple of years, he spoke about depression, about his own mental health, and how it's okay almost to not be okay, that whole cliche. And like as far as I think his lyrical ability goes, he'll discuss that, but over a beat that makes you still feel good. And I think that's a great formula.
And that's what I mean. It's so frustrating. Like, there's certain artists where it's like I quite like. I'm not gonna lie. I'm guilty for it. Where I like people to be unknown because I'm like
everyone does.
I like to keep him as a hidden gem. But it's like with Kojey, I'm actually one of them where I'm like I really wish more people would bump his stuff, and I wish more people would give him the credit and the respect and the time as well. Because as I said, even like his visuals, I take a lot of inspiration from his visuals, his music. He's just.
I think the last but since I think it was 2016. He delivered 23 Winters, wasn't it? The debut EP, and that went to that charted. I swear that was a very, very strong EP. But that was 2016. We're in 2020. Like the last 4 years, shoot me if I'm wrong, but I feel like things are definitely changing from a streaming perspective, from what we as a society on, let's say, radio would accept now.
That's what I mean.
Do you know what I mean? Like there was for me, there was a lot of house and stuff like that, and that's you've got One Extra now that just play a lot of underground stuff, and it's really, really healthy, I think. So I do believe he's sick, and obviously credible music always comes through no matter what.
To the top. I do believe that, and I think that he's. Because that's what I mean. He dropped that album, and I remember he dropped a tweet, and it was really interesting. He goes, "It's really hard to go and make music when you feel like you've made your best music and hasn't been heard." So he felt like he's made the best
peaked, but that's bullshit. No, that's a him in a way. That's a him problem, because he is not peaked for shit. He's 26, 27 years old. I don't know how old he is. He's not old in terms of making music, and I think. I can understand. I mean, I am so low on the food chain when it comes to this kind of stuff that I can't really even like say like an educated comment. But what I know as a fan, and objectively, I can look at it and say, do you know what? Like, you're only as good as your last.
Yeah. This is what I mean.
You can just keep making and keep making.
Yeah.
There's always, if you've got that skill and that talent and that gift and the passion, there's another song coming and there's a bigger song coming, and it shouldn't really be about numbers anyway.
But I feel like it must be.
He deserves it, but
you're 100% right. But I know if you made the project that you feel like is like, you're looking at other projects out there and you're going, this project's better than that. It must be the most frustrating thing to be like, okay, we're gonna get in the studio and work again. When you know people haven't even taken it.
It shouldn't be. My opinion is this: you shouldn't be thinking about what's better and this and that. You should be making music for love it. And I'm not having a go. I'm just saying, enjoy the process. The process, I've learned, is the funnest thing. Like getting into a studio, I'm addicted to that space.
Yeah.
Because it's creative, it's open, it's like you're free to be whatever your vibe's in that moment. Like however you're feeling in that moment, that's what you're gonna do. Obviously, I'm coming from an independent perspective. When you're on a label, is he on a label? I don't know that.
I think he's
Is he independent?
It's really hard to tell now because I feel like a lot of artists are like independent, but like they're aligned.
They've got saying I don't.
Yeah, so
yeah, if I take Frankie and Harv, yeah, because I know Harv, he's my boy.
yeah, me and Harv.
Look, here's what it is.
Called him the other day.
It's because Frankie calls him Harv, so I feel like I know him. You know when you listen to lyrics and they ingrain in your head, and you're like, I know that person. But yeah, so like for me, them two, like they've known each other for like 10 odd years, whatever, and like the synergy that they've got, you can tell it's two mates that love making music.
Yeah.
There's no pressure. There'll be some deadlines, and of course, but if just you can hear it in the music. And I'm not saying with Kojey it's different to that. I respect that it must be frustrating to have to go into the lab and do another song, even though I felt like that was my best one. As I say, you're only as good as your last song. Let's keep going, keep making, keep creating. What's the next thing that can fill that hole? Yeah. You know, whatever. If that's how you work, but that's how I work. Either way,
mate. That's a good place to leave it. I think that's a nice.
We'll round it off in there before the battery runs out again.
But yeah, I was gonna say we've got one bar left, so let's roll out on that. Thank you so much for listening. If you made it this far, let's roll out with one more Kojey song.
Yeah, bang it.
Anything else you want to end on before we?
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
If anybody's listening.
Frequent flyer miles, got my demons playing catch up. Only nigga in first class, do rag matching my leather. Pride matching my get up. ACW, my sweater. Then in my pair together, black owned. I spend it better than most. A lion don't leave the jungle by choice. And when it was time to speak up, you was losing your voice. Proving your noise only came from empty barrels. Annoys me if I'm honest. So many did it for clout until they got it. Can we be honest? Really be honest? When court of public opinion, keep people fearing their judgment. What's really keeping you from it, really keeping you from it. You speak, you say you want it for real, then why you running for real? You say you stressed, man, I was stressed too. You say you next, man, I was next too. I know the wrongs that you said yes to. Deep in depression, I was dead too.